Hello everyone, my name is Anirudh Siddhanti. I am from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Aeronautical Branch. I am here to tell about the topic or relation between angle of attack and lift coefficient. Forces acting on plane. An aeroplane is a flight is acted on by force, lift, the upward acting force, gravity, the downward acting force, thrust, the forward acting force, and drag, the backward acting force, also called wind resistance. Lift opposes gravity and thrust opposes drag. Drag and gravity are forces that act on anything lifted from the earth and moved through the air. Thrust and lift are artificially created forces used to overcome the forces of nature and enable an aeroplane to fly. Aeroplane engines and propeller combined is designed to produce thrust to overcome drag. Therefore, the wings are designed to produce lift to overcome gravity. This is an aircraft where we have they're acting four forces: lift, thrust, gravity, drag. Lift is a forward force, drag is backward force, gravity is downward force, and thrust is forward force. The refinement of the old thrust equals drag, lift equals weight. Formula explain the portions of thrust. The direct is directly upwarded inclined to show flights and act as it were lift, while a portion of weight is directed backward opposes the direction of the flight and as it act as if it is were drag in slow flight. Thrust has been upward component, but because the aircraft is in level high, weight does not contribute to drag. In lights, a portion of the weight recovers is directed along the forward flight path and therefore act as thrust. In other words, any time the flight path of an aircraft is not horizontal, lift, weight, thrust, and drag vectors must each be broken down into two components. Another important concept to understand is angle of attack, AOA. Since the early days of flight, angle of attack is fundamental to understand many aspects of aeroplane performance, stability, and control. The angle of attack is defined as the acute angle between the chord line and the airfoil and the direction of the relative wind. This is an aircraft where the thrust is in forward force, the flight path, the relative wind, which is resistance, the lift is generated, and this is the reverse component of the weight, and this is the drag. The acute angle of the surface, where this is the straight line, this is the normal line, and this is the angle which has been made by aircraft. This angle which is made is called as angle of attack. Lift. The pilot can control the lift anytime the control yoke or stick is moved for fore or aft. The angle of attack is changed. As the angle of attack increases, lift increases, all the other factors being equal. When the aircraft reaches the maximum angle of attack, lift begins to diminish rapidly. This is called stalling of angle of attack, known as CL max, critical angle of attack. Examine in figure 5. Nothing how the CL increases, quotient of lift increases until the critical angle of attack is reached, then decreases rapidly with the further increase of the angle of attack. This is the quotient of the lift and drag various angles of attack. Where this is this angle of attack, this is the quotient of lift, where it is increasing and suddenly it's dropping. This at this point, this is critical angle, and this falling part is called stalling. The lift equation is L equal to CL, that is quotient of lift, into rho is density into V square. This is velocity square, and S, that is area, by 2. This is lift equation. Lift and drag are also very directly with the density of the air. Density is affected by several factors. pressure, temperature, and humidity. At an altitude of 1800 feet, the density of the air has only half the density of the air at sea level. In order to maintain its lift at a higher altitude, the aircraft must fly at a greater true airspeed for any given AO angle of attack. What is angle of attack? Angle of attack is an angle between the oncoming air or relative wind and a reference line on the aeroplane or wing. Sometimes the reference line in a line connecting the landing edge or leading edge and tailing edge at some average point on the wing. Most commercial jet airplanes use to the fuselage center line or longitudinal axis as the reference line. It makes no difference what the reference line is, as long as it is used constantly. Angle of attack is sometimes confused with pitch angle or flight path angle. Pitch angle is the angle between the longitudinal axis and the horizon. The angle is displayed on the altitude indicator or artificial horizon. Angle of attack is the difference between angle of attack versus coefficient of lift. The angle of attack is which angle between the chord line and relative wind. The coefficient of lift is measured how much of the lift of wing can be produced and can be only changed by changing the shape of the wing or the angle of attack at which the cuts through the relative wind. The lift coefficient of a fixed wing aircraft varies with angle of attack. Increasing angle of attack is associated with increasing of lift coefficient up to maximum lift coefficient. The Newton's third law of reaction upward force wing provide the lift. Increasing of angle of attack can increase the lift. This is the increasing of the angle of attack with the high speed. This is the graph of angle of attack and coefficient of lift. Thank you. That's all.